And all of the cases come from military sources. So there's no reports from members of the public.
We're really getting into the nitty-gritty now. They're talking about high-standing academic people. With the ordinary man in the street who's also seen these things, let us not forget, then we're dealing with true stories as well. Just because it's Air Force pilots and we're Joe Blogs in the street, it's still the same phenomena. Irrespective of it's a pilot or Mrs. Smith, they're seeing the same exact objects.
The UAP task force looked at 144 cases going back to 2004. One of the reasons going back to 2004 is that, and it was said by one of the pilots, they actually upgraded the radar facilities that they had. And it was since then that they've now been able to track these things. So maybe we just didn't have the technology. If they'd used data prior to 2004, it might have opened another can of worms for them. One that perhaps they didn't have a control over. The reason for 2004 is because of the Nimitz sightings and the films that were taken.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Oh, thing, dude.
The only thing about the footage, it's not very good quality. I do know that the quality could be better, and they probably got better. So the question does arise, why did they release such a grainy, awful image?
We know that the 3 videos that came to light that were connected with the Navy are original. Maybe someone within the high establishments wanted this to get out.
Whether it was leaked and then they had to disclose because it was leaked is a bit of a grey area.
One called the FLIR, forward-looking infrared.
It's like a small Tic Tac, but obviously larger in dimensions when it was pursued by the military jets.
That was seen at very low altitude to begin with, over the water. This was a naval exercise off the California coast. So you'd got half the fleet there. There was 4 fighters, one was the US, the other was the enemy. And they were playing war games. And they lock onto it, and they've got it locked on, then all of a sudden it just goes, boop, and it's gone. After seeing this thing, the fighters rendezvous 60 miles away at a certain point. Only the pilots knew where that rendezvous point was, so none of those on the aircraft carriers who were following all this on radar knew where they were going. But of course, when they got there, what was waiting for them? The Tic Tac.
So they were wanting to know, why has this been filmed? Why are they going at terrific speeds? Far outweighs the normal capabilities of American military aircraft.
It was said to be travelling at 46,000 miles an hour, which is about 10 times the speed of sound.
Now, the G-force on that was such that if that was a normal aircraft with a normal pilot, he would be dead.
How did it know that they would be at that point? And another one called the Gimbal, and they locked on it, and you hear the pilots as well communicating with each other and saying, geez, look at that thing, there's a whole fleet of them.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Oh, thing, dude.
The object they saw, they didn't see it. It was on radar. And if you look at the footage and the data on the footage, you can see at the top of the screen it says IR, which is it's in the infrared.
That's not our LNS though, is it? It's not. That is the LNS, dude. Well, if there's like... Look at that thing. It's rotating.
But it was flying erratically. There was no visual exhaust plumes. There was no visual wings or aerofoils, you know, that you would expect to see on an aircraft.
Nickel 6-1 Tango, Roger, Roger. Oh, got it! Woohoo! Roger, there's troubleshooting machines out here. Did you box moving target? No, I took an auto track. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, dude. Wow,
Contradict myself here. There we go. We've been saying that for years, years and years. You've finally captured something on videotape that people have been seeing for hundreds of years. That's a good side. But the bad side is just niggling away at the back of me is the wonderment is, could it be our own technology? And they're happy. The American military machine are happy for it to be masquerading as a fanciful UFO because it takes the weight what it truly is.
When I was serving in the Air Force, the first time I saw the stealth bomber was in the Gulf War, and it had been out for years. If you didn't know what you were looking at, you would look again and think it was not normal.
If it's our own technology, then why are they keeping it so secret? Surely they'd want to showcase it to Korea, Chinese and the Russians. Hey, look what we've got. Look what we've got.
They've said, well, it could be the Russians or China. We don't think it is, but it might be. So is that, you know, sort of backdoor way of saying we need more money for the defence budget, just in case these things are, you know, our foreign adversaries?
Have they devised some fantastic craft that can exceed, you know, the capabilities of modern aircraft? And if so, we have to be very concerned with that. So obviously we have to look over the fence to the possibilities that it's another country. That said, I still believe we're dealing with something extraterrestrial or interdimensional.
When you look at what they spent at the Department of Defence, I think it was 22 million. Compared to the overall defence budget, which goes into the trillions, it's a trifle. You know, might sound a lot of money to us, but it is nothing.
Now we're on a roll, so to speak, that maybe the powers that be will say, OK, we need to find out a wee bit more about this. Here's the money. Because when you look at the money that goes into the black budget programme of American military machine, millions of dollars going to the funding of these new aircraft and stuff like that. Let's have a wee chunk of that and look properly at the UFO enigma, because it's now crying out for this demand for answers.
Nickel 6-1 Tango, Roger, Roger.